you need to include your pricing on your website. Like, you have to include pricing on your website. We live in a world today where people are comparing you to somebody else that offers the same thing that you do. And if you come to a website and you don't see any pricing, the first thing that you think is, this is so expensive.
Welcome to Girls Make Bank, the podcast show for women who want to learn the art of selling for business and for life. I'm Jack White, seasoned sales professional, entrepreneur, and owner of Honeybees Group. Come back each week to hear inspiring stories from some of our favorite female business owners. Learn how to take the ick out of selling and make bank. We're all in this together, so let's get started. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Girls Make Bank, where we teach women how to sell. We are all about giving you the tools you need to succeed in sales for business and for life. And today we are in for a special treat. We'll be hearing from someone who knows truly how to turn lemons into lemonade. Carly Kerndt is the CEO of FlyDog Digital. She turned adversity into opportunity during the COVID-19 pandemic when she started her business in October of 2020 after getting laid off from her job due to COVID. She began as a virtual assistant, quickly pivoted to being a social media manager, and fast forward 4 years later, she has built a full-service digital marketing agency working with clients in the US as well as internationally. Carly, I am very excited to have you here. Welcome.
Thank you so much. It's so great to be here. I'm so excited to dive into all things business, sales. I'm so excited.
Me too. And I think that you have a really relatable story because I think a lot of people, a lot of women in general, become accidental entrepreneurs, but especially during COVID when the world was completely turned upside down. Tell us a little bit about FlyDog Digital and what you guys do and the story of how it came to be.
Yeah, so I'll kind of start from the beginning and move to present day, 'cause it'll answer all of your questions in between that time frame. So I was very unexpectedly laid off in COVID. That's a whole story for another day. But when I did get laid off, it was quite a shock to me. I started applying for a bunch of jobs. This was in October of 2020. And so at the time, the job market was just a dumpster fire, like peak dumpster fire. So I started applying for all of these jobs. I was honestly applying for jobs for 12 hours a day, writing custom cover letters, 30 to 40 jobs, applications, LinkedIn, Indeed, all of the things. And I would see these jobs posted on LinkedIn that said posted 2 hours ago, and there's, 312 applicants already. And it was just so competitive. I knew that hiring managers weren't even seeing my resume. They weren't even getting to it. I didn't even hear no's. I was just hearing nothing back. And I had some pretty good past experience. I've worked for corporate Jimmy John's in marketing. I was one of the first 100 employees at Carvana, which is now like a massive 10,000 plus employee organization. And I've worked in, like I said, just a lot of different marketing roles, and I was applying for all these jobs and I just couldn't figure out why I wasn't hearing back. And I was getting really frustrated and kind of down on myself about it. And eventually I said, you know what? If nobody's going to hire me, then I will hire me. And I decided to start a business. The virtual assistant was kind of like buzzwording at the time. It had been for a little while, but it had been growing in more and more popularity. And I said, I could do that. I could do that. At least I need to make some money somehow. So I started a business and I named it Carly Bridget Creative. That was the first name of the business. My middle name is Bridget. My last name is Kerndt, which is impossible to spell and to pronounce. So I went with Bridget. And I was mostly offering social media services because I had done that in the past in corporate a little bit. I had only had about maybe a year of experience doing that, but I knew I could do it. So I started marketing myself in Facebook groups and to friends and family. And I started signing some clients. And I said, I should probably make myself a website, so that people can find me and inquire and things. And so I watched 100 hours of YouTube videos on how to design and build a Squarespace website and launched my website. And one of the social media clients I had at the time said, your website looks so good. Could you make me a website? I was like, probably, sure. She's like, how much? I'm like $500. For the record, we just signed a $21,000 website project. So that was way back in the day. And I did a website for her, learned that I really liked that creative side. And so then we started offering website design. So then I was in between this social media and website, and we started getting more and more inquiries for just other services. And so it just, as clients were inquiring about these things, we were adding those services to our offerings. And so today we offer social media and website design, and those are our two most popular packages because that's a lot of what people know us for. That's kind of how I got started, like I said. And we also offer paid social advertising, email marketing, SEO, branding, Google ads, but most of it, like I said, falls into the organic social media and website. And then we'll get kind of one-off client requests here and there, which we accommodate if we need to, but that is what we do today.
I love so much of this story because I think it's both relatable because a lot of people, even now post COVID, with corporate companies shifting and even small businesses shifting, people are finding themselves unemployed without a lot of options and needing to sort of create income. And so I love that you said, okay, this is what people need. I can do this. I need to do something to make money. But I also love that you said, I don't know how to do this, but I know enough to figure it out. And I have the confidence to learn a new skill and to grow and to stretch. Because I think that's where a lot of people actually get held back. And I think you're a great example of growing your services sort of organically, like doing something for yourself that needs to get done and then saying, yeah, sure, I'll take a shot at doing this for someone else and building there. I love that story of scaling, both in terms of, employees and the clients and the types of clients and services that you offer. So tell us more about how you make those decisions to expand the agency offerings and how you have the confidence or you build the confidence to expand into areas that you're not necessarily an expert in.
I got to the point where I was managing about, gosh, I think I was probably managing about 5 or 6 social media clients, and I was doing 1 or 2 website design and builds every month. And I was working crazy hours. That's 2 people's full-time jobs, let alone just one person doing that, plus running the business and doing new sales consultations and all the things. So my time was just tapped out 100%. And obviously you get to the point then when you are scaling that you say, do I want to continue doing all of this myself and raise my prices because there's, demand for it so I can raise prices? Or do I want to start growing a team? And I had some people management skills, had done people management of employees and things at previous jobs. And I really liked that. I know it's not for everybody, but I knew that I liked doing that. So when it came to this sort of fork in the road, I decided to go the agency route, the employee hiring people on route. And I started hiring people that were better at things than I was. So the first person that we hired was doing graphics for social media. I really went slowly in terms of hiring. This is, all business owners know the business is your baby. And I knew that nobody was going to take care of it as good as I was going to take care of it, or I thought was going, I was always going to be the best one at it. So releasing control over things was really tough. So I started with the things that someone could do it better than me, and that was graphic design. I did designing websites, designing graphics, but it wasn't my favorite and I was quite slow at it. So I first started by outsourcing that and then started hiring on more people depending on what the business needed. And then, like I said, we got to the point where people were asking for SEO and Google ads and paid social ads. And I knew enough about those things to be able to have conversations about them, but I no way felt confident taking somebody's money for me to do that service for them. So I started hiring on people, like I said, that could do those things better than I could. I always knew that if I hired them on and they eventually left the company, that I could take over in the interim. Again, I knew enough. And I've taken a lot of courses since then. I've taken paid social advertising courses, SEO courses, Google Ads courses. I'm always trying to learn and grow and be able to speak to those things more clearly, even if it's just on consultations. But those were the people that I hired. So today our team consists of a digital designer who does our website design and development. We have a separate branding designer. We have a website copywriter. We have a brand copywriter, a social media and content manager, a paid social advertising specialist. We're hiring right now for another SEO and Google Ads manager. And then we have an operations manager on our team that does all of our project management, CRM, all of those things. So everybody is really specialized in what they do, and it lets them be the expert, and it lets me be able to rely on them being the expert as opposed to being this digital marketing specialist jack of all trades.
And you said something that I think resonates with a lot of business owners, which is nobody's going to take care of this business or treat this business the way I do. As you're hiring, and especially over 4 years, sort of scaling and hiring so quickly, how do you ensure that that team that you're hiring or the people that you hire have that vision, have that passion, have that standard of excellence that you do for the company and for your clients?
It is so tough. Like I said, no, I know in my heart of hearts that nobody is ever going to care as much as I do. I care painfully so much about this business. And I know that no, I wouldn't even want anybody to care as much as I do, because all business owners know of like burnout and imposter syndrome. I don't want our team to have that. That kind of like rely comes back on me. So, but finding someone that cares enough to really put their best foot forward every single day is important. And one of the things that I like that is great about being a business owner is that you get to pick the people that you want to work with. You don't have to say yes to every client that inquires. You don't have to hire every person that applies. You get to choose who you want to bring on and kind of bring into this business family that you have and help take care of your baby with you. So when we do hiring, the first at least the first full interview is almost like a culture fit, personality fit type of interview, just seeing what they're like in their own lives. I say too, as I was building this business, that I'm trying to create the business that I always wanted to work for. And I had felt like in my corporate career, I had worked for 4 or 5 different companies, and I always felt like I wasn't getting the right professional development, that I wasn't really seeing a lot of maybe some growth in myself, but nobody was pushing me to take courses or to learn more to do better. And there's always, corporate politics of someone taking credit for somebody else's work and all this just BS. And I hated that. And so when like I said, was building this company, it was like, I want to make the company that I wants to work for, where if your dog passes away, like take the next 2 days off. Like don't worry about it. Like, don't take PTO. Like, this is a horribly tragic thing. Like, you don't need to worry about that. We have a team. We can cover what you're doing. It's treating people like people. So, like I said, the first couple of interviews is really a personality sort of culture fit. And then when they do get hired, we have built by our operations manager, a really great employee onboarding process where we go through all of our company values. We let them know how we expect them to treat other people on the team, but then also how we expect them to treat our clients, how we expect them to treat themselves. So we've spent a lot of time and money investing in building out these company values, making trainings on these company values, making sure that our team feels like they're growing all the time. And I think that they do think that. So I think it's working.
I love that, building the company that you always wanted to work for. And you mentioned having a full-time in-house operations person, which is a little unusual for an agency of your size. And so talk to me about what that decision was like to make that investment, because I'm sure it is a big investment. And then what kinds of systems and processes are you using to make the ops run so smoothly?
Yeah, like you said, it is very unusual for someone to have. Usually there's fractional COOs or a virtual assistant or sort of some online business manager. When I made the decision to bring somebody on full time, I really like having full time employees because I know that they're just that much more dedicated to the business. And I knew that this operations manager was going to almost become my like right hand woman. We're an all-female team, so my right-hand woman. And I knew that I wanted someone who was going to be available 8 to 5, that I could send things to, was going to get back to me immediately, that I wasn't waiting a day or 2 business days that most contractors have built into their contracts as their turnaround time. And so I just wanted someone that was going to do that. And to be honest, we had so much work that had to be done that we could easily fill 40 hours a week worth of time for this person to be able to do that. So that's kind of how I made the decision to bring them on, was partially because of wanting them to be more committed to the business, having the time, but also because we had the amount of work for it. So they have built out our whole project management system, which we use ClickUp. We had a little bit of a base of ClickUp, but it was not great. So they really built out our whole project management system. So in ClickUp, I probably spend, and everybody on the team probably spends at least 80% of their time in ClickUp doing various different things. So we have a whole FlyDog Digital HQ section that has things like our company address if you need to find it, an employee directory if you need to see who's on the team and where they're located or what time zone they're in or things like that. We have all of our internal business operation tasks in there as well. So everybody on the team fills out a weekly reflection form, a quarterly reflection form, and a yearly reflection form. All of those fit in there. We then have a whole client section where we do all of our content planning for all of our social media clients. So we write all the captions, everything's in there. That's how the clients approve content as well. Then we have all of these tasks that are tied to it: sending reports, sending things out for approval, making edits, scheduling. All that stuff is there by client. Same with our website clients. Their whole project timeline is in there as well, with what they need to fill out and when. And then we have a whole hiring section as well. So every applicant applies through ClickUp. We track all of their applications through there. If they do get hired, then they get a whole onboarding list of all of these videos, and we need your headshot for the website, and fill out the company directory part that was in the operations section or the HQ section that I talked about. So she has spent, obviously, as you can maybe imagine, hundreds of hours building out this thing with all of the automations that are tied to it. So it's a really, really robust platform for us. So that's the main system that we use is ClickUp, and everybody in our team knows that we sort of live within there. Then the other system that we use, not as well, is Dubsado. We just switched from HoneyBook to Dubsado. Just there's more automations that will make our processes a little bit clearer and more streamlined. So those are the two main things that we did. And her job, our operations manager, is to manage all of that. She does our employee onboarding calls as well. I feel like there's so many things operationally that if you have someone that you can trust to pass those things off to, they can really, really help the business just be more efficient and grow quicker.
I'm having ClickUp envy. Like, yes, that sounds amazing. I want that. I need that. People really underestimate, having a very clear process, standard operating procedures, automation. It takes a lot of time, money if you're hiring someone else, time, which is also money if you're the business owner doing it yourself. I feel like when you do that, it exponentially makes the business run better and makes everything you do easier and more streamlined and better. And I think it was really smart of you to make that investment sort of upfront. That's a great way to be able to scale your business. It's just being, having all of that manual work removed and it all happens automatically really lets you focus on the client and focus on the deliverables and creating the work and bringing new people into your sales funnel.
Yeah, it's really also freed up just a lot of like my headspace, knowing that there's all of these tasks. Do you know what I mean? You bring someone on new, and what you don't want is for them to drop the ball with timelines and deliverables and all the things. And I know that they can see when everything is due. And so I used to have these Monday morning meetings with everybody, and my meetings were like, so do you know that client X is due on Friday? And they're like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And I'm like, and then that on Wednesday we have it was like confirming that they knew things. And in my head, I was like, just don't drop the ball, just don't drop the ball, just don't drop the ball. And so now all of that is freed out of my head. I don't have to, one, waste the time on those meetings going over things that they already know, but I also don't have to lay awake at night thinking, is this person going to remember that this is coming up? Have they been? Please let them have been working on it all week, you know? So it's really helped me lean even more into my CEO title and not spend time.
Micromanaging everyone.
Yeah, and I have no time to micromanage, and that's one of the things I hated when I was in corporate as well. When we talk about creating the company you wanted to work for, I hated the micromanagement. I was like, trust me to do it. And now I feel like my employees know that I trust them to do it, but I also, not only do I just have the trust there, but when they're new, it's hard to give away that trust. You have to earn a little bit of the trust. So this makes me sleep better at night as well.
We touched a little bit on your sales funnel. Tell me what that looks like for your company.
Yeah, so it feels like as our company's grown, it's really changed. I would say that most of our clients come to us right now either through Instagram, a little bit through LinkedIn, but a lot of referrals. We've spent so much time, obviously, as we talked about, like investing in this operations, which has really led to us having, and our employees, right, which has really led us to having this great client experience. So we get so many referrals from clients, honestly, even clients that have chosen to offboard with us for one reason or another, they'll still send us clients to work with because they had a great experience, and it might not have, they some of our clients have had to close their business for one reason or another, but they still send us referrals even after that. So we spent a lot of time investing in those things, which has really led to a good referral network. And so that's usually how people sort of enter our sales funnel with their consultation. And a lot of these consultations, almost all of them, are all warm leads of some kind, right? They either have been looking around our social media, looking around our LinkedIn, they were referred by somebody else. We don't do any cold outreach of any kind. So they're all warm leads that are coming through. They then fill out our consultation form on our website, and we have a couple of automations set up. So our operations manager reviews their form, make sure they're qualified to be able to work with us. Sometimes, you get people who want the $500 website. And I said, that is so great, but we just don't, that's not within the pricing. So here's maybe some resources, or you can look at buying one of our templates, which are within that pricing. And so she will sort of qualify them. If they are qualified, she'll send them a call to book, or, check a button that then sends them a call scheduler, as well as a pricing guide, which has all of our pricing in it. That makes us then, when we actually get on the consultation call, which is with me, that I don't have to talk about pricing with these clients. They already know what everything costs, and they should be able to afford it. We've already qualified them, and they can see all of that. So if they get on the call and they have some sort of pricing objection, I am like, that's not what this call is really for. So yeah, it's really helped us to have really good consultations and sales calls and really dive deep into how we can work with their brand, what their pain points are, suggestions of platforms they should be on, rather than what does this cost. So it's saved some of my time there as well. And because of all of this, because they're coming in as warm leads, we know they can afford it. We're having really strategic sales calls. We have like almost an 80% close rate for clients that fill out the consultation that move forward. Because again, you get some like spam people who are contractors filling out your consultation forms, trying to work with you, trying to get you to hire them. So as long as there's some sort of qualified person we should talk to from people that get on sales calls with us, we do have about an 80% close rate. And it just all relates back to, I think, like how when the second they inquire what that experience looks like, answering all of their questions and making sure those sales calls feel valuable for them and their time as well, and not just how much does that cost.
So talk to me about how the website and sort of the information that you're putting in there, and then, the qualifying of the lead, sending the pricing. How does that communication and that transparency in services and pricing, which I also think doesn't happen a lot of the time, help you have better consultative calls and also a better close rate?
As a marketing agency, we obviously love websites and positioning and messaging and all of the things. So we've spent a lot of time working on our own website, of course, and working with our team to get those positioning statements and those messaging statements really, really clear. I think that a marketing agency it's not a new thing. There are a zillion marketing agencies out there. And honestly, we're not that different, I'm sure, than a lot of them. There's some that we're really ROI focused and we're really client experience focused. So it's like, how are you putting that on a website so that when a client comes to the website, they understand what it is that you do, how you do it differently than everybody else, kind of what they can expect and what the next steps are. So clients come to our website and they feel that. And because of the design and our branding, and I'm sure they're in the show notes here somewhere, you'll be able to click through and see our website. But we have some kind of like fun, quirky branding. And the business name is FlyDog Digital, for crying out loud. We have our my marketing manager, which is my dog. Her name is Zoe. She's on our Meet the Team section. We call her our mascot. It says on our website, like, we take our work seriously, but not ourselves. So you get it, you feel it with the branding, you feel it with the messaging. And we've gotten that feedback on consultation calls. Clients say, I come to your website and I feel like I know you. I've never talked to you before. I've never met you in real life, but I feel like I know you guys. And they like the case studies that we have. They can see our pricing. We have starting at pricing on our website for every single package that we offer, which when we design websites and build websites for clients, we say, like, you need to include your pricing on your website. Like, you have to include pricing on your website. We live in a world today where people are comparing you to somebody else that offers the same thing that you do, maybe even 4 or 5 other people that offer the same thing that you do. And if you come to a website and you don't see any pricing, the first thing that you think is, this is so expensive. It's like when you go to a restaurant and there's no pricing on the drinks menus and you're like, yeah, these are $25 drinks for sure. And people are thinking the same thing, you know? And so we always say, like, don't let yourself fall out of their consideration pool because you're not including pricing. And some people, the objection that we get from clients sometimes is, one, I don't have set pricing. It's custom every time. And totally valid. We do custom projects all the time as well, but there's some sort of starting at ranges from this to this, starts at this, averages this amount, so that they come in and they know at least a little bit.
A benchmark, anchor them on something. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So that all helps us there. So by the time they get to the consultation, like, or and they fill out that form, a lot of their questions have been answered. They know what they're going to get from us. They know how much it's going to cost. They like us because of the way our brand is positioned and the way the branding is designed. So it's really led us to have like a very smooth sales process. But that whole messaging, marketing, branding, website, that whole thing has taken a lot of time as well for us to build out. And we've redone it several times until it feels perfect, which finally I think I can finally say that it feels perfect. You know, ask me in a year and it might change, but right now it feels like it's in a really good spot.
What metrics or KPIs are you always monitoring to make sure that you are performing at the level that you want to perform at? Whether that's your, client close rate, your client satisfaction rate, hitting deadlines, continuing to grow revenue. What are you tracking in your business right now?
Wow, so many. So many metrics. We are a very like data-driven agency, so we just love stats to begin with. So I would say, like, from a sales perspective and a sales and marketing perspective, we're looking at our Google Analytics really frequently to see how people are finding our website. Of course, on our consultation, it says, how did you hear about us? But that lets us know actually how people are getting to us. So we look at that really frequently to see, are there areas that we should invest more in if they're bringing in more clients or more website traffic. So we'll look at that, as well as we have different pages of our website for the different services that we offer. So we'll also look at Google Analytics to see if one of those pages visited more frequently than another page. If it is, it means like maybe we should do some more talk about that service more in social media marketing, or make sure we're mentioning it, that people know that we offer this. So we use our Google Analytics and our website analytics a lot in understanding how people are finding us and the types of services that they want to see, that they're most interested in. That then kind of leads into what we're doing marketing wise on social media, which is, which of those services are we talking about? We kind of pull that, like I said, from our Google Analytics. When it comes to what we're doing for clients, it's sort of the same thing. Every client that onboards with us, regardless of what service they're on, we always require that they have Google Analytics so that we can track those things as them as well, because that informs a lot of our marketing decisions for them. Because at the end of the day, when we're posting on social media or we're doing emails or whatever, like open rates are great, impressions are great, engagement's great, but like nobody really cares if it's not bringing them any money and more revenue and more leads. So the Google Analytics tells us actually what these things are doing, people that are getting to their website, making it to their contact page, filling out their contact form. So when we look at clients, each client's a little bit different and it depends on where they're at, one, in their business, and two, in their time working with us. As we build out content strategies, it's a lot focused on impressions and generating demand in the first 30, 60, 90 days. And then in the next 30, 60, 90 days, we look at converting that demand. And when we look to convert that demand, the KPIs change. So from a marketing angle, it's always sort of changing depending on the business. And then from a profitability standpoint, from the business as well, everyone in our team tracks time in ClickUp. Imagine that. And we pull reports to see how much time they're spending on clients. Are we billing clients the right amount? If we spend X number of hours, we bill clients X. What is our average agency hourly rate then? Is that what we need to? Do we need to somehow be more efficient for a certain client or increase that client's cost with us or increase our social media costs as a whole or our website costs as a whole? So we look to see how much time everything is taking. And sometimes people ask me, like, how do you get your team to track hours? Like, as a they're full-time employees, they're W-2 full-time employees and they track time. I'm like, yes, we're an agency. That is so common for an agency to do. And it's not to micromanage them. It's not to say, hey, you spent 1 hour working and I think it should take you 45 minutes to do this. It's to say, hey, like, where are we missing the mark? Is the client sending in more edits? Is this just a hard account for you to manage? Like, let's just talk about it. It's not to change what they're doing or make them feel like they're doing a bad job. It's to help the agency be more profitable. And they know that if the agency is more profitable, those costs will get passed on to salary raises for them, which everybody wants. So we look at those numbers as well. So KPI standpoint, I mean, there are tons. And our operations manager also helps me a lot with that, which is just bringing her. I feel like everyone's going to walk away with this and be like, I need to hire an operations person. But for us, it's really good.
Protect her at all costs. Protect her at all costs.
Exactly. So yeah, those are the numbers that we look at, which is just a ton, to be honest.
And what advice do you have to other agency or service-based founders, businesses who are looking to scale? Because you've scaled both in terms of the services you offer, the clients, the number of clients that you have, and the employees. So, someone who's looking at you and saying, I also want to scale, what one or two pieces of advice do you have for them to help them get it together and take that leap or move forward with efficiency?
Yeah, I think that the biggest thing that I would say is that, like, you don't have to do that if you don't want to do that. So many people reach out to me and they say that they want to scale into an agency or they feel like that's the next step. And the first thing I ask them is, are you going to be okay with firing somebody? And they're like, oh, I would feel so bad. And I'm like, you can't feel bad. Like, that's business. You have to be able to hire slowly, fire quickly, and it can be really tough to let somebody go. And you're impacting their livelihood and their family, and that is so hard. But it's a business decision, and that's comes with growing and scaling. So one of the first things I say is that something that you're willing to do to grow the business? And if that makes you feel so icky and uncomfortable, not that you can't grow the business, but maybe go a different route. Like I said, there are ways that you can, as a whatever your business does, you can be the main deliverables person, right? If you're a photographer, you can keep going out and taking the photos yourself as opposed to hiring an associate to do it. If you're a social media manager, you can continue to create all the content as opposed to hiring a virtual assistant, right? You just raise your costs then. There's supply and demand. You can continue to make more money without needing to bring on more clients. There's ways to do that. There's webinars that you can do. There's other passive income sort of ways, templates, things that you can sell that don't need you to be able to bring on more clients. So if the thought of managing people, of having a conversation with somebody when they drop the ball and letting them know, putting them on a performance improvement plan, like if those things make you break out in hives, like it might not be the best route for you, or think about it. Start off slow, hire the virtual assistant first for a couple hours a week, give them things that you feel okay relinquishing control over. And if that's the route that you want to go, that's my biggest suggestion, is to think through the things that are either taking up the most of your time that you could hire someone to do faster for you, or the things that you are okay with giving up control over. So, like I said, for us, it was graphic design because someone could do it quicker. The next person we hired on after that was an engagement specialist that did all of our social media engagement and commenting, replying to DMs. It was very time consuming for me to do. And it was an easy thing for me to give up control over rather than like an entire website design or like an entire social media content strategy. So I would say give up the things that you feel the best at. And then for me, it's been easier than to give up control over other things as I've given up control of these small things. The business didn't crash and burn. Everything went better. And they were even doing it better than me, which made me trust them. And so I was like, okay, let's try to bring on this person next. So that would probably be my biggest piece of advice. But always know that the first like month or so, there's hiccups, there's learning curves. They're never going to be as fast at it unless they're more of an expert at it than you are. They're never going to be as fast at it as you are. It's never going to look exactly as you wanted it to look. But again, you just have to like give up that control, go through some of those learning pains and growing pains, and know that again, now our team is like fully efficient. I don't produce any client deliverables at all anymore, and we're still signing on clients are even like happier working with some of our social media managers than they probably would be working with me, and that is the way that I love it.
I think that first piece of advice is so, so wise. Why do you want to scale? And is it really that you want to scale and bring on more people, or is it that you're trying to make more money? And what's the best way to do it? I think that is really sage advice. Where can people find you and find FlyDog?
Yes. So we have our agency Instagram is at FlyDog Digital, and my sort of personal CEO Instagram is at by.carlybridget, which I'm sure will be in the show notes and things as well. So you can find us on Instagram. Our agency posts very regularly. I think my last post was in June. Maybe I'll post about this and kind of revive my Instagram account. I'm pretty active on stories. So you can find us there. Our website is flydogdigital.com. We have a blog that we recently started all about social media marketing and content marketing. So lots of good things to read through there if you need any other sort of like marketing insight and knowledge. We've recently kicked off a blog, which we've really enjoyed.
Carly, thank you so, so much for spending time with us today. I think you've shared some just great insights and tips and things that people can look at their own business and try to emulate or think about where it fits into what they're doing. So thanks for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. This was so wonderful.
Thanks so much for tuning in today. If you found this episode helpful, be sure to share it with someone you know. And don't forget to subscribe to Girls Make Bank for more tips, strategies, and stories that help you own your power and sell better. Together, let's make bank. Thank you for listening to this episode of Girls Make Bank. If you like what you've heard, please remember to subscribe, like, and follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen. Please review and share our show to help spread the word and help your girls make bank. And I'd love to hear from you. Connect with me on LinkedIn or Instagram, or visit honeybeesgroup.co. Until next time, friends.